Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. We need the talk show walk-in.
I need that gold, I need that perp. Got that 2-4 chillin' on my shirt. Added 7 cause I always put in work. 24/7, let me kill the verse.
Organized Sound Podcast. I'm back with my co-hosts Tyler Bass and Sean Grady. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. How we feeling?
Feeling pretty good.
Feeling pretty good.
Whoa, awesome. And we have some crazy topics today, and they all revolve around a really interesting YouTube video that came out as part of Apple Music's Pharrell podcast called Other Tones. And they interviewed Jimmy Iovine, who had a lot of interesting things to say about the current state of the music industry.
You mean like Jimmy Iovine, right?
The Jimmy Iovine.
Oh, Jimmy Iovine.
Not
all right.
Jimmy Iovine.
Not Jimmy Iovine. Oh, okay. Makes it clear.
Huge difference. But
anti-structure.
Anti-structure king.
Inside joke.
Playing his role. So I think one of the main points that he talked about, we'll just jump right into it, is kind of how artists are in a better position because of the fact that they can grow their own fan base. Labels are more in straight-up bidding wars with mid-level artists who just don't happen to be signed, and that's better for them because they're going to get, $2-3 million contracts, which wouldn't have happened 10 years ago, and be able to structure their deal that way. But when I think about it a little deeper, it's kind of to the point in the music landscape where I'm wondering what we need the label for at all. If you're already a mid-level artist, if you're already garnering this attention, have the fan base to tour properly.
It's the feeling now that you don't
That's make it interesting, dude. All right, so you mentioned some type of bidding war.
Yes.
For mid-level talent. Do you have any quick examples off the top of your head?
Quick examples. I guess we'd say Marshmelon is a quick example from the video, which is going to be linked below. Who this is an EDM artist. He has a couple big songs that are like 50 million views at least.
Wow, okay, so that's really good. So that's very different than how it used to be. So what we're seeing is artists being empowered, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing very much. Now they're the ones in control. And I think that we're seeing a lot of labels sweat.
Absolutely.
They don't like
definitely. Labels don't offer the same perks as they used to now that social media exposure is
and budgets are just smaller because of how much money's coming in.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no question.
But whose fault is it though? That we've gotten to this point.
The consumer.
It's the consumer.
The consumer refuses to pay for music.
Absolutely.
But
that's why
is the consumer ever at fault? Aren't the businesses only there to facilitate the consumer? To bring value to the consumer.
Definitely. My thing was how did it, I think that the artist has the power now, but the power really rests. You're right with the consumer rate. So you were talking before about how they're in control, but it's never really their fault.
How they're in control. Well, a really interesting thing is that Jimmy Iovine was talking about how he just loved what he was seeing at Apple Music. He realized iTunes was the future. He was no longer really trying to play the label game. And he said whatever labels do in the future, they need to embrace technology and work with it to bring value. And I think that artists might be better served to not embrace labels at all. And this is something I heard Little Dicky say, surprisingly enough. He says, all the artists really need is marketing. So why aren't artists making deal with
all business.
Straight up marketing?
For the camera, I'm for everybody else, right? I had a brain fart a second ago.
Yeah.
But now I remember what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Whose fault is it? It's their own fault. It's the label's own fault that they've gotten to this point. Because they're the ones.
They were slow. They were slow to the trend.
Absolutely.
Macro.
Radio.
If you can't
they're the ones.
Technology.
They're the gatekeepers. All right. They are the ones that started the practice of only fucking with you if you already a fully developed thing.
Right.
You see what I mean?
And that's lazy
so now
itself.
you have these fully developed chains of people and artists coming And the labels have relegated themselves to the position of just being a bank. They're just the ones that approves the loan.
And artists don't want any creative constraints when they're making
Exactly.
music. They kind of want freedom and time to make whatever they're working on.
They don't really need to listen.
Yeah, for them, they don't want to look at it as just like an output, because labels come at it like a business and they want a certain output to come out of what they've invested in. But if you're an artist, that's not always reasonable, especially if you're just trying to find yourself artistically.
Definitely.
You don't want to rush anything.
Yeah. And I think all too often, artists have this idea. I mean, we all do. It's ingrained in us, right? We wanna. What's the rap dream, right? You get signed.
Absolutely.
That's the final.
Right, that's what you work for.
Rainbow.
But that's the beginning.
But
I remember Wale saying that. That means congratulations, you have a job.
To realize we're growing
right.
up.
He didn't like Interscope's pressures and things like that.
You don't need
we were
that.
talking about.
You literally don't need that anymore. Like, you don't need it. But people just don't know it yet.
Right. I think artists are starting to put people around them that kind of know what to do, and they're even starting to take it upon themselves to try to understand the business side of it, so they don't get screwed out of anything, and whether it comes to money or whether they just want more time to work on whatever they're doing.
So we're seeing a trend of centralized power
start to branch out,
and the artists.
Absolutely, it's spreading to the artists.
Right.
And you kind of mentioned, Tyler, that Mac Miller started all this.
I did earlier, yes.
And that was kind of a revelation, because if you think of an independent artist who
was that 2011
did it at the highest level, you have to think about Mac Miller.
What's that album called?
Blue Slide Park.
Blue Slide Park was probably one of my least favorite Mac Miller projects of all time.
It's not up there.
Maybe like 1 or 2 songs on there. I fuck with Mac beyond heavy, but I'm just being honest with you, bro. But yeah, that's the one that started. He made the decision.
Macadelic.
He made the decision. Macadelic is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, he made the decision, and he led the bandwagon. So when I see this whole, it's like, you know, you kind of go to sleep for a little while. It's like you're in a coma, and then you wake up, and it's like, oh my goodness, how did this all happen? Well, we were at the beginning, and we saw it with Mac Miller. He opened the floodgates for young, independent artists doing their things and setting demands.
Absolutely.
Shout out Mac Miller.
He's a prime example. I'm trying to think of others who
Shout
came
out
around his time. You know, Chance always gets highly touted for being Young Chano from '79. Yeah.
But also, there's a lot of like Illuminati-esque conspiracy of, is Chance really independent?
Oh, true.
Which I hear, and I think what I want to talk about is
he's his own quasi-state now.
Yes.
He's his own quasi-state of half establishment, half.
The media has embraced him in a very
he's graduated.
It doesn't seem to make sense way.
He's the poster boy of rap. Bringing back gospel.
You remember, man. So shout out Jordan Bain, shout out Johnny Ash from Winter Circle, shout out Aunt Prieto. They're the ones that put me on to this man Chance. I swear to God, we were partying at Framingham State, and this man had 8,000 views on 10 Day.
Whoa!
Like we saw Chance
early,
and we were partying in 1999 by Joey Badass back then. So that's how you know, like. You know, it was legit. We were really, you know, putting it on. So it's cool to see Chance really grow and get the recognition that he deserved, because he really bringing a lot of flavor that's needed.
I almost felt like it came on too late, because I felt like when, I don't know, at least when Acid Rap came out, that's when I thought he was not at his best, but like damn near close, and he didn't have like any buzz. And it took him years to get there. Even when he hit Double XL in 2014.
Dude, that was 2013.
It still felt like there was a ways to go.
Yeah, definitely.
And now he just I don't know if it's closed the gap or
5 years.
It's like Kanye cosign.
5 years later after Acid Rap, and it's just like, since he's smart. He has a backlog now, because now he's getting all these new fans, right?
Yeah.
And now they're coming to him not as kid with 8,000 hits on 10 Day. They're coming to him as man with 3 projects under his belt.
3 Grammys.
They can binge watch it. You know what I mean?
Right, they can catch right up if they want to.
Right.
And pretend they were a fan longer than
fans.
It's almost like sports.
Yeah, it's almost exactly like that. It's like Warriors fans.
But in sports, you can't go back and watch all the games, so it might be easy to throw somebody out.
That's true. It's a little more difficult to do.
They want to win.
Nice.
Where does Drake fit in this conversation?
I don't think he does. I want to talk about Drake is in every conversation.
Yeah, we can keep him out.
We can go an episode.
The
reason
I thought of Drake is just because I was rocking with that song "Over" today.
Oh.
From back in the day in headlines.
Right.
I think I just love
that was him at assigned point.
I love the brass
Scrappy
instrumentation
Drake. Scrappy come up Drake was cool. I think the labels are still a gatekeeper though. And you look at festival bookings, you look at being on, Jimmy Kimmel, Tonight Show type shows, and you think of like these label parties where all the networking gets done. I mean, at this point, that is the value they provide.
Wow.
So kind of talk about that. That kind of idea that if you don't have a label, why would you be nominated for?
You know what that kind of reminds me of?
Because you're not really an artist.
That reminds me, man. So in these high competition environments, for some reason, you just reminded me of really high end private colleges.
Right.
Because you know what they be doing? They be doing all types of stuff like really crazy pools and all types of luxurious campuses. Not a really good education, really, but like they have these decked out campuses, and they're just to try to attract the most students because that's the most money. It's the same thing.
Right, so now you get the education at public institutions.
Now we have labels
easily.
That are trying to just deck out. So what that means is they can't differentiate themselves on price really. So they need to stand out when they're trying to attract these artists in different ways than just pure merit, because the pure merit is the same. Right, no label can really do anything special for you. That's why they only have cheap gimmicks to try to.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone can see through now.
Are they cheap? If you can't get if you can't get certain mainstream placements without them,
there's the operative word, Maib.
Mainstream.
If. And what this entire podcast is describing
is that soon
how that if is changing to when.
It's only a matter of time.
Ooh.
Because we're talking about, can these artists do it without the big label holding their hand? Can they? It's when. When are they going to?
Yeah, because we're seeing this wave of artist empowerment.
This is the last gasp of the labels. So if that's all they can offer, going to Colbert and going on
Jimmy
Iovine. Colbert's going to invite them himself.
Right. He can contact them.
I don't know. Right. It's because tied up.
They work together. These huge monopolies.
Yes.
They work together.
Great point.
They work together. So. But
the workaround is a sweet. The workaround is a sweet deal. You know.
It's a sweet deal, brother.
Sean, do you have anything to say about the labels in closing?
Yeah, nothing to add.
Okay. So then we'll move on to.
So overall, before we break, labels, we all agree, less power than before.
Absolutely.
And do we think it's a good thing or not?
To sign.
That the labels have lost.
Jay-Z says
no. I think it's better.
Draw your own conclusions.
I think it's better. I think it's better because now it shifts. Because before, like labels and even if you think about in the old 50s movies industry, they literally controlled the image and the identity and the direction, and then now the artist does that, and they're just a banker kind of. But this gives all the onus of responsibility on the artist. So with great power comes great responsibility, and in this current day and age, the kids that have this responsibility, they're like the strongest artists ever in the sense of what they can relegate and put on the table, but they're not utilizing it the way they can, I think. And I'm talking about all these new little rappers.
Right.
But
all your favorites. Yeah. All your favorite bands.
No, but I guess in conclusion, it's good that these artists don't have to work under any type of constraints or something that would kind of limit them from exceeding their potential when it comes to progressing at rap. So they're not held back by anything if they can put themselves in a good position.
Definitely
put people in their camp, and try to keep within the same family.
Amen.
Moving on. Another big topic from this aforementioned interview was Billboard, and Billboard essentially counting a free YouTube stream with the same weight as a paid stream that you'd get off of a Spotify Premium or Apple Music.
You gotta link that in the
and how that definitely gonna link it, and how that is wrong. And what it does is you know, it doesn't reflect the business of it, because there's no business being done for you to have watched a YouTube video. It has importance. It has like a very specific importance.
Is there no business being done?
But when it's not monetarily controlled, I think there should definitely be less credit given.
Absolutely.
In the weighting average. Do you see an easy way to fix this, either of you?
There's no easy way to fix it. It's my belief that YouTube streams shouldn't really correlate to an artist's sales numbers, and it shouldn't add into that as a factor. I don't think that social media exposure really translates to any type of sales, whether it be streams paid for or unpaid. I don't think that giving into social media is really, you know, someone could be interesting, someone could be entertaining. As we were talking about Famous Dex.
Oh, yeah.
So he'll get clicks on YouTube, but, right.
But people listen to his songs. Do you think Famous Dex has less appeal if you're not getting the visual portion of his music?
I'm entertained by Dex no matter what. Yeah, I think he would suffer a little bit because it's cool seeing him just,
just his
freak out to his own
aesthetic.
Shit.
I think we're going to make a whole episode about aesthetic. I'm going to show these guys like Peep, Pump, Perp.
I like the idea too of
the three P's. The three P's of aesthetic in new music. Go ahead.
Of what you said about, you said you wanted to do an episode or a topic about, is it better to do your album on the road or
that's the topic we're coming to.
That's actually wicked interesting. I don't have an answer.
Okay, Billboard, we're at odds, which I'm sure you are too. For artists on the road, what do you think, Sean? Do you think the art is suffering because artists are making their albums on the road?
Yeah, I think if they're touring and the touring is like really physically and sometimes just like emotionally demanding, I don't think they should be forced under that type of work commitment already to try to make another album, because then that just leads to more tours. I feel like the best artists kind of release their work, they take time, they take at least 2 or 3 years. Some good artists can still work under those constraints, but I don't think it's applicable for everyone.
This is how I feel. Taking the time is a luxury, and there should be two tiers of strategy. If you're a new artist that is starting from zero, close to zero, I think this whole Famous Dex, Rich the Kid progression, a single every 2 weeks and 3 mixtapes a year is the right answer. And I think once you capture that attention, once you're a nationwide phenomenon, it's time to slow down. And this is why I 100% agree with Love is Rage 2 taking a long time. Uzi's established, Uzi's got Billboard hits, and he's at a point where he's now just building his long-term career out. This next project has to be quality over anything else. And I think the people that are managing him know this. And of course he's kicking back because it's not how he's been rolling the last couple of years, but this is absolutely the way to do it. Take your time with your art when you have the luxury of time.
For sure, especially if you're Uzi, you don't have anything else to prove, at least for right now. It's kind of like LeBron. You can just kind of, focus on something else other than just winning championships, because you've already hit bangers. So you can take time to develop an actual project, which might be one of his biggest critiques.
You can maybe take some time and become a man, right?
This man's got
the views of Tyler Bass are not the views of the Organized Sound podcast or its other co-hosts.
Disclaimer.
Wow.
This guy's
shots fired. But I see you jotting some stuff down.
Yeah, I jotted some stuff down because this is actually a really interesting topic. You know, I was kind of on the fence, but then as you kind of talked, I jumped to your position. That definitely is wicked important for artists to be able to hunker down at home and get the work done. Because what I've been talking about this entire podcast, kind of bitterly, and I admit, the work is suffering. The work is suffering. And why is the work suffering? So the work's suffering because of a lot of different reasons. But I think touring is a big part of it, all right? Touring is a big part of it because they're always scattered, they're always gone, they're always, doing their stuff. That's really important too, because that helps create the art.
And the big but is touring is where all the money is coming from now.
That's what I was gonna say.
Sorry.
That's no, perfect. Perfect timing, because it's messed up now, because now the way the economy goes because of
touring.
the clicks, the way how they do the albums, the way how they categorize the albums, mixing in YouTube and free plays in there, affects the money stream. Artists don't get paid for their music no more. They get paid from the touring.
Right.
The touring, so they need money for their music. And the only way to get the money is touring, but the touring is killing the music.
Yeah, it's kind of a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious
cycle. It's a vicious cycle. I mapped down the vicious cycle. So examples on how to break out of the cycle, you gotta have that stability. You gotta build that you gotta hunker down in the bunker. Hunker in the bunker. So examples, Brian Wilson, when he made Pet Sounds in like 1967 or whatever, he locked himself into the studios. I think it's either Capitol, I can't really remember, but basically he had like 4 orchestras at his disposal for 4 months, and he told them what to do every single day for 8 hours. And that's how he created a masterpiece like Pet Sounds. We have Kendrick Lamar, locked himself in with musicians in a mansion for months, and that's how they created a masterpiece. You gotta give yourself time, and that's how you create the best product, bar none.
You definitely can't discredit those artists who just like release things in punches and still land them, like Future or some of these Atlanta people who come out at like rapid velocity. And
now,
still
does rap exist outside of this critique bubble because of the fact that good rap music seems to be able to be made really quickly and just because of technology? Are they immune to this idea of making music quickly is hurting the art? Sean.
It doesn't have to hurt.
I'll let him take that and then
I just want to add a caveat because I know Sean's about to blow it up, but I actually want to just put a little amendment on my previous statement.
Yes.
Sometimes you do need to be like a quick hitter, and sometimes, like, I think that what I just said applies a little bit more once you've kind of broken the stratosphere a little bit. But when you're down below, you gotta scrap. You gotta scrap, and that means the opposite strategy of you gotta have lots and lots and lots, but you gotta have some quality there, of course. It's the balance. But when you're low, you gotta be scrappy, and you gotta have a lot of content coming out.
Right, because I'm sure it's difficult for like a lower tier artist to spend a while on a project that doesn't really commercially land, and then you're kind of at square one again, trying to like go back to the drawing board.
And we understand that from just like the Massachusetts music scene, which we've seen ebbing and flowing, and it seems like everybody's right on the precipice, but
still nothing nationally.
Waiting for a Messiah,
things go crazy. And I mean, shout out Joyner Lucas, shout out Cousin Stiz. They're fucking out in front.
100%. Michael Christmas
they could be there could be extreme greatness out of that.
So I guess just to sum up everything that we've discovered this entire podcast, music and capitalism don't mix.
I don't think there's a better way to end that, so.
Boom! Organized Sound Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. More interviews to come. More topics about music. We're also going to be launching kind of like a business spin-off of the show really soon.
Okay.
Be on the lookout for that. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we're out.
See ya.